Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a lovely day so far. So in today's video I'm creating this look here. I am using, of course, the Beauty Bay Retro Love palette, and I'm only using my eyeshadows, which is so out of my comfort zone, and I also don't have any mascara on the lower lashes, which again is out of my comfort zone. But if you want to see all of the products that I'm using and how I created this look, then just keep on watching. So I'm going to start with the eyes today. I'm thinking I want to do something quite sort of sharp on the outer corner. So I've already done my concealer and my brows, and of course I'm going in with the Retro Love palette again. And I think I just want to use some mattes today rather than the shimmers that I've used a million times. So I'm going to be using Buttercup, this yellow shade, Baby Love, the peachy shade on the bottom row, and then Cupid, the hot pink. And I want to do like yellow peach pink, so it's like a sunset across the eye. That's what I'm thinking in my head anyway. I might add a shimmer, but we'll see by the end what I'm fancying. So I'm going to start just with a big fluffy brush, and I'm going to first just go into Love Me Do, which is that transition-y shade, and I'm just going to put a little bit of that in my crease just so that there's something for those other shades to blend into. And I'm also just going to, rather than bring this down with my crease here, I'm going to just take this across because I want this to be really like winged out in this sort of direction. So I'm just layering up that transition shade mostly on like the outer half of the shape that we're going to create, but also just making sure that it's all the way along as well and in the shape that we want, bringing it right the way out here. So that's the transition down. Obviously it's like nothing at all really, but I just wanted a little bit of colour so that the brighter colours can blend into it. So I'm going to do that technique where you like lay down the colours and then you go in and blend afterwards. I've done this before and it didn't work too well, but I'm going to try it again. So I'm going in with a flat shader brush, and I'm first going to dip into that Buttercup shade, and I'm going to lay that down on the inner third of the eye. I'm going to do both sides, and then I'll wipe off the brush and use the same brush in the next shade. So then wiping off that brush so that's clean again, and going into Baby Love, the peachy shade on the bottom row. Again, loading it up on the brush and laying it down in the centre. Ooh, that colour, that's so bright. And then again, wiping off that brush and going into Cupid, that hot pink. And I'm going to approach with caution with this one because I think that this is going to be quite pigmented. Yeah, and I'm just going to lay that down on the outer third, and I'm also going to like create that shape that I want. So that is somewhat the shape that I want. So I'm going to go in with a small fluffy brush and I'm going to dip into that yellow shade, tap off the excess, and I'm going to just buff over this top edge here on the yellow shade. I'm going to do both sides. And then dipping into that Baby Love, that peachy shade, I'm going to just tap over this join here to make sure that that's blended, because obviously we've just laid down the colour, so now we need to blend them together. And also when I have some of that Baby Love shade on the brush, I'm going to buff over this top edge here to soften that out. And then still with that Baby Love peachy shade, I'm going to tap over the join with that hot pink. And rather than using the hot pink to blend this shade out, because I think that would just be too much, I'm going to use that peachy shade and just lightly buff over that top edge there. Obviously I'm not worrying too much about this edge under here because I'm going to clean that up with a little bit of micellar water, but that top edge does want to be blended, so I'm going to use that peachy shade rather than the hot pink. I'm also just going to make sure that the hot pink and the peach are nicely blended together using a really light hand and basically no product at all, just a little bit. So then once that's blended, I can go back in with that first brush and just intensify the pigment anywhere I think I need it. So I just want a little bit more of that hot pink on the outer corner, and I also just want a little bit more peach across the middle because that colour is so pretty and I don't want to lose that like in the blend. I do still want that to be very, very vibrant. And you know what? I think I'm happy with that just being matte. I don't think I want any shimmer on that, which is surprising in itself. So I'm going to go in with some micellar water on a cotton pad. I'm going to just clean up that outer edge. I'm obviously going to go in with a liquid liner. I feel like this look needs a strong wing, so I am going to do that, but I just want to make sure that all of that is nice and clean underneath. Obviously I can reapply the concealer. So I'm going to go ahead and do the liquid liner. So this is the Profusion Everlasting Waterproof Liquid Liner. Basically the only black liner that I use now. It's absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to get very close up to my mirror and do a big black wing. Be right back. Okay, so I also put on one layer of mascara. I used the Wet n Wild Big Poppa mascara, and I feel like this looks okay. I may go in with another layer in a little while, but let me zoom you out and we can do the rest of the face. So I'm going to be using the Collection Hydra Serum foundation. I'm not going to mix this. For the last like 7 million videos I've been mixing my foundation with the Inky polyglutamic acid that's somewhere on my table, couldn't tell you where, but I'm not going to mix it today. I want a little bit more coverage. I feel like with all of this like pink in the eyes, I don't want all of the pink in my cheeks as well, so going to go in with a pump in a bit. And I'm going to use a sponge because my skin is so dry and I don't know what I've done to this sponge, but it's like all misshapen. It's definitely time for a new one. But today is not that day. It's like not coming up clean anymore. You know when it gets like that? It's time, but not today. So I'm just going to work the foundation in with the sponge. Doing your brows first is all very well, but then you have to put your foundation around the brows, and that is not easy. Anyway, I'm going to go in with the same concealer that I used before and just put a little bit of this like right in here, and I'm going to use a brush to blend this out. I'm just going to tap a little bit just in here, and then I'm actually going to use an eyeshadow brush just to tap this in and keep it really tight in there without disturbing the eyeshadow that we've put on. And I'm also just going to use that same brush just to drag a little bit out under the wing so that it really like highlights under there and sharpens that up, because I don't think I want anything like under the eyes today, any shadow, so I really want this to blend right up to the under eye nicely. A little something like that. I'm just going to put a little bit of that concealer in the centre here where I have a little bit more redness, but just a small amount. Just a tiny bit. I'll use my sponge to blend that in. Yes, that's better. Just a tiny little bit more coverage, and it's also a shade lighter, so it just highlights down the centre nicely. For bronzer, I'm using, I haven't used this in the longest time, the e.l.f. Putty bronzer, and I'm going to use the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. Work some of that onto the brush. Not the easiest thing when I only have the tiniest little bit of product left, but let's warm up the face. Then I'm also going in with the e.l.f. Putty blush. So this is in the shade Turks and Caicos, and this is like the bright like orangey toned pink, because obviously we're going quite bright today, quite summery, pretending it's not absolutely freezing outside. So just going to tap some of that onto the cheeks. I feel like I just need a little bit more warmth in the skin, so I'm going in with my Kiko bronzer because this is a really nice like warm and almost like, it's not shimmery but it is glowy, and I feel like this is like a very summery eye look. I feel like I need that in the skin as well, so just tapping a little bit of this over the top of that bronzer. But I think I'm happy with the amount of blush. I don't want to overpower like everything with a lot of blush on the skin as well. So just tapping a little bit more of this warm bronzer over the face. Yes, I feel like that looks better. It was not warm enough on the skin for me. These little hairs are annoying me. Ah! So I'm going to go in with a little bit of a blinding highlight. This is the XX Revolution Powder Highlight in Echo. And I'm just going to tap a little bit of this over the top of the cheeks. I never reach for this highlight. Well, I do, but like not as much as I should, because this is beautiful. So blinding, but not like chunky or glittery. It's so pretty. So I'm just going to finish up the eyes. I'm going to just tap a little bit of that first like transition-y shade, Love Me Do. I'm going to tap a little bit of that with, what brush am I going to use? Just going to use a fluffy brush and run that under the eyes a little bit, but I don't think I'm going to put mascara on the lower lashes, which I feel makes this look like very different on my face, because I usually do a very smoky under eye, a lot of mascara on the under eye as well, but I feel like this is just, it's quite different for me. Quite different for me. A lot of people do their makeup like this, but for me this is different. I am also going to tap a little bit of that highlighter that I used on the face, going to tap a little bit of that on the inner corner, but I'm not going to blend that out too much. Usually I take this like right across the whole lid if I'm doing like a bright inner corner. I really like to blend it in, but I think I'm just going to leave this right on the inner corner today, just to brighten that, you know? Just a little bit like that. I'm going to try and go in with a little bit more mascara because I feel like the lashes are just looking a little bit lost. Let me try and build this up a little bit. Then I'm just going to wipe off the foundation that I got on my lips there, and I'm going in with the Essence 8 Hour Matte Comfort Lip Liner in Rosey Nude. I'm going to just overline the lips a little, and then over the centre I'm going in with this lipstick. This is the MUA Creamy Matte Lipstick in the shade Super Nude, because I don't want anything that's going to overpower the eyes. I don't want anything too pink. I want a true nude. So tap a little bit of that over. And that blends in with that lip liner really nicely. So because it's me and I don't really enjoy the feeling of a matte lipstick, I'm going to just tap over the top of this with a little bit of the Relove Baby Gloss, just the clear one. But I'm going to take this on my finger so that I don't get the applicator all dirty. A little something like that, and then I am done, I do believe. I don't even think I want to put any more blush on, which is not like me at all. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you have this palette, if there's any other like colour combinations that you think I need to try. I have already done 3 looks with this palette. There's so many options, genuinely so many like options, so many different looks. I am absolutely loving this palette. So let me know if you have it, let me know what you think. If there's any other looks that you want to see, I am always open to suggestions. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. Bye!